Hello, disc golf fans, and welcome to the first round of the 2021 Disc Golf Pro Tour Match Play Championship presented by Discmania. This is the fifth match. I'm Brian Earhart, joined here by Nate Perkins, and we have a lefty attacking the Steel Club today.
Yeah, he's going against one of the favorites coming into this bomber course here at the Steel Club in Calvin Heinberg.
You know, what are your thoughts on the lefty going up against this course? I know from my observations, it looks like a lot of these big distance lines don't favor Chris Clemons, but I think the holes are not insanely long enough to where he is at a disadvantage completely.
Honestly, I don't say this too often, but I did not see any distance forehands out here. This is definitely a course that favors the right-hand backhand player.
So let's see. Let's jump into it. Hole one, again, you're out of bounds. You're shooting back inbounds. 950, so distance is a necessity off the tee. And like you said, Chris Clemons' sidearm is his bread and butter, so let's see it out here.
Inaugural Disc Golf Pro Tour Match Play Championship presented by Discmania here at the Steel Club. Thank you all for coming out. Our matchup today is Calvin Heinberg versus Chris Clemons, first on the tee from Safety Harbor, Florida. Your 3 seed. Give it up for Calvin Heinberg.
And yeah, I think, looking at this course, it's made for a player like Calvin. Big distance lines, lots of direct power shots, placement. And that looks to be exactly what you are looking for on hole one.
That is huge.
Smoked.
That's the furthest we've seen, right up there with Ezra's shot.
From Kansas City, Missouri. Give it up for Chris Clemons.
Chris is one of the few players, if not the only player on tour, that throws the forehand for his max distance shot.
And he threw that one pretty low. That needs to sit down. And he is stuck in bounds. Yeah, and
Calvin's got him by almost 100 feet right there.
And that's what's tough when the wind picks up, especially the forehand loses a lot of distance compared to the backhand just from a lack of spin being able to fight through the wind. So Chris is going to have to really grind his way around this course. He has a beautiful backhand, but I would say distance-wise, they're almost very comparable. But like you said, here's Calvin about 100 feet in front of Chris's drive. And almost makes the mistake we've seen numerous players make already, going OB early, and he has put his into circle one, 15 feet.
Yeah, that's the first shot. That's the first player that we've seen in circle one with a look for three.
Chris trying to dunk that. Calvin's going to have a 15-footer, maybe 20 for the first hole. There it is. That was a huge tee shot from Calvin.
I've actually heard Calvin talk about the move that he does with his shoulders. We'll get a look at it later and kind of dive into it some more. Here we are on hole two, uphill, low ceiling. You want to try and land on this flat golf tee. Anything down the hill, and it makes this second shot really tricky. There's OB left. This golf green is actually inbounds, and the sidewalk long is OB, and it wraps around the left side of the pin.
Footing being a challenge on the second shot is a really cool element of course design, I think. I think that's one of my favorite parts about this hole. Forces you to be really specific about where the disc lands. And he doesn't like it. Heard it hit something. Chris is just going to go with another felon sidearm here. Oh, yeah.
And check up.
That is picture perfect. He's going to have a pretty similar shot into the green there, and Calvin's just having to save a 4 now. Does look like he has driver in his hand. Wow. No way.
Huge shot.
He's putting for birdie.
Yeah, over 400 feet with basically no run-up.
Nice floating backhand from Chris, and puts his within birdie's distance as well. Something I've always thought about when we look at the lefties who have had the most success on tour, I think about Chris Clemons. I think about Austin Turner when he was touring, when he was young. Sidearm always seems to be a huge factor in the skill set, but also having a touch backhand as well. And I think Chris right now displays that skill set perfectly.
Yeah, there was a point where Devin Owens, you remember Devin?
Absolutely.
He was one of the most accomplished lefties, and I would have to say that Chris has probably passed Devin up.
It's from the sidearm. You know, Devin was primarily backhand, but moving into number 3, 700 feet, another hole where the optimal play is that righty distance turnover backhand. So we're going to see here, getting a 3 is doable for both lefty and righty. Calvin does have the advantage on this. Was seeing him go up the right side in practice. There is a little inside gap here.
He's been throwing this Emperor. Super domey. It's kind of like Infinite's version of a Destroyer, I believe.
Oh, my.
And is that going to flip? It is. Look at it
So
just,
close to getting a full
What?
turn, but he is still way down the fairway. It's hard to compete with that.
yeah, that's closing in on the 600-foot shot right there. It didn't even really break over. It just kind of drifted around that tree.
And Chris is just having to opt for the backhand. Oh, and he's thrown that low. That's something that, as a lefty playing the ball golf courses on tour, that I've noticed is a lot of these holes where the really cool lined up shot for the righty distance turnover, it really is a huge disadvantage for the lefty, where the hyzer is the only play they get to make there. So they do bite off a lot of distance. Chris does get up there, circle's edge. And Calvin is putting at the basket. And that is pressure on Chris. 30-footer. Solid.
Great looking putt.
And we're going to move into number 4.
Curious to see if Chris can reach this 435-foot hole with his distance forehand.
Definitely a lot more work than Calvin being able to throw potentially a control driver or even a fairway into the green. Beautiful drive from Calvin. That is absolutely parked for birdie. And here we go.
This is such a tough matchup for anybody.
Yeah. And as the courses keep getting longer, too, you know, it's going to be hard to keep balancing these holes for the lefty and right-handed player unless you keep making straight holes. And that is looking like...
Just a little too much angle out of the hand. But he almost needs that to cover that much ground.
Yeah, 435 uphill is not easy. Chris needs to throw this in.
Oh
my
wow, that looked so good from this angle.
That's going to be +2 for Calvin Heinberg. Absolute park job. And number 5, 520. I would give advantage here to Chris, being able to throw a forehand a little bit lower release than a righty backhand, potentially getting to the top of the hill, getting a skip. We've seen a couple different plays here. We've seen roller into the green a couple times be extremely successful. So I'm curious to see what Calvin does. Again, he's not a fan of the roller.
He's just going to test that ceiling here.
I mean, that's about as good as a righty backhand can get.
Yeah, that's the best air shot we've seen. It crested that first hill. It's still just short of the second one, but I don't know if the ceiling is high enough to get it over that second hill.
This is one of the weirder lower ceilings that we've seen all year. Yeah, Chris being able to get a lot lower to the ground on the sidearm, and he puts it in play, but he's still going to be out. Advantage is going to be Chris being able to at least throw the backhand into the green. And he... Okay, I think he puts it to the edge of the tree line, and he is going to have a putt from circle 2. And are we seeing roller here from Calvin?
Looks like he has an eagle in his hand.
I'm interested to see how he's trying to land this if it's an air shot. Oh, he is trying to throw air shot. And he's thrown it deep. I think he was just going for a placement shot. Oh,
Wow.
Off the bin with the forehand. And now Chris has an opportunity. This tree looks like it could be posing an issue, but safer putt for Chris.
Oh, he went over it.
Oh, no. So close.
And they're going to halve the hole.
Calvin remains 2 up on Chris, moving into number 6.
Disc golf is a relatively young sport, but its popularity makes it one of the fastest growing pastimes in the world. The PDGA is a not-for-profit, worldwide player organization dedicated to promoting the sport. Like a long drive off the tee, disc golf is soaring. So don't just be a witness to disc golf's explosive growth, be a part of it. Join the PDGA.
Hole 6, 390, significantly downhill. Basket is up on this mound, and there's OB left and long. Very tricky one to park. And this hole has showed us in the past that it gives up points.
Yeah, something that I've noticed is that when players play the hole safer, they tend to have a better tee shot. Whenever they seem to try to club down to something slower, Calvin's going to go out of bounds. There's an open door there for Chris. And with the sidearm, I think he's looking to go... Okay, he's going with a felon, it looks like. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Sit down. And he is also out of bounds from farther back than Calvin. These are 2 huge putts. Oh, and he nails it for par. Calvin has a tester. That range is so smooth from Chris.
Yeah, he's got that little jump putt dialed. This is to tie the hole.
Okay. Another split. And number 7, just a huge air shot. We've seen some rollers as well fight against that hill sloping down to the left. A lot of players are having a nice touchy approach into this basket, biting off quite a bit of distance here. Oh. Okay, so it does have enough stability.
Yeah, it looked like he kind of held on to it a little too long. Gosh, he's just covering so much ground on a flat to hyzer line.
You never see him throw those lines that, like, Anthony Barella or Thomas Gilbert throw, those high, towering anhyzers, but he throws so far on such a direct line. And a lot of airspace to cover for Chris. Look at this backhand. It's a fantastic shot from Chris.
It's still short of Calvin's, I believe. Yeah, he's up first.
It's going to be a verdict, I believe. Okay. He's parked.
Thank you.
And they have picked up. No putts needed. They split the hole. They're moving into number 8. Calvin is 2 up on Chris.
Very similar to the previous hole. Players are just going to be bombing this drive. There is OB on that left side. There's a golf green OB on the right. Elevated pin.
One of the more straightforward holes in this course. Look at this line from Calvin Heinberg. Still got it to flip, even though he threw it uphill a little bit. That's way down the fairway. And yeah, he's going to have just little chipper into the basket. Chris is having to go sidearm here.
Yeah, there's almost nothing that Chris can do on these long par 4s. They just wait for Calvin to make a mistake. I mean, Chris birdied the last one, and, you know, it's
just so much harder for Chris to have to get up and down, but he still has a little straddle forehand and puts himself to 15 feet. Calvin has a jump putt at the basket on a 720-foot hole.
What can you do?
Not
Can't win the
much.
hole, yeah.
Not much. And I've said it, you know, before, and we've heard a lot of people talk about it. Calvin's skill set scales to any course you give him. The fact that he can throw an eagle 500 feet, doesn't matter what challenge you give him, he's able to throw that line. So, running out of time here for Chris Clemons, number 9. He does have that airspace off to the left to throw a big flex shot, potentially taking the hole on Calvin, but we only have a few holes left here, folks. Ooh, and he hammered that with some anhyzer.
Whoa.
That's going to go long. He said too far.
What a shot.
And I think it was a good move. We've seen so many players leak too far to the right because they're throwing nose down. Disc has too much speed coming up against the front of it. Chris, though, has space to throw a big flex shot.
Yeah, definitely more room for the lefty here. Does he get over on it? Oh, this looks fantastic.
Oh, come on.
What
Oh,
a
and he's
shot
safe
from
on the
Clemons.
fringe, putting in circle one. Calvin has to give this a bit of a bid. Oh, and he
that
nails
is
it.
cash.
Birdie for Calvin.
Gatekeeper rewind.
What a putt from Calvin Heinberg. He's making this so difficult for Chris.
Poor Chris.
Throws
He throws
the
the best shot of the
yeah.
round so far. I mean, that's the closest we've seen anyone on hole 9, and he is still going to tie the hole.
And this is to split the hole. And he get double birdie for the split on hole 9. Chris is still alive. He still has 3 holes left. Hole 10. Well,
Yeah, 5-10. I don't think that Chris is throwing a 510-foot forehand here.
I've seen close to it. Wind's got to be just perfect.
It's slightly uphill.
I will say, though, this is someone who has flicked over the water on hole 18 at Waco, which is 490. So there is a chance.
Just outside circle 2 for Calvin. And Chris needs to beat Calvin on the hole, or he's going to be dormy with 2 holes remaining. Oh, and he's actually going with the turnover here.
Keep coming. He says higher. Decent shot, but again, you're going to have to dunk this at some point. He's going with a little safer run with the forehand. And another pin-high jump putt for Calvin. And they're going to split yet again. Here's Chris from about 15 feet. And yeah, you were talking about Devin Owens as someone who is a phenomenal lefty. I think he's still maybe one of the few lefties that have won a national tour. Didn't have the sidearm like Chris, but had a little bit more distance. So Chris with a bit more diverse skill set moving into number 11. You wonder if Chris is going to throw the flick
I'm curious.
flex over the top
hole.
here, or if he's just going with the safe hyzer off to
Yeah.
the left side. We know what Calvin's doing. Ooh, kind of a stall hyzer over the top. He said might not be good, but he's right in the middle of the fairway. And I just wonder for just saving his shoulder if he's going to go for the flick here, but it looks like he is.
Yeah, it's really steep for a forehand.
So he has to beat Calvin on this hole, or it is game over. And he's got to go with something a little flippier because he is throwing a little nose up on this, and he gets it over the tree line. That's impressive.
That's really impressive.
My shoulder's hurting just looking at
I
that.
feel that.
Puts him to about circle's edge, short of the basket. This could be the dagger right here for Calvin. That's about it right there. Chris has a long putt that he needs to make to keep the match alive. And there you have it, folks. What are you supposed to do as Chris Clemons in this match? Calvin played near flawless.
Yeah, he played really well. I have a feeling that he is one of the favorites out here.
Especially at
after
this
watching
course.
him play the Steel Club. Really looking forward to seeing more of his matches.
And Calvin Heinberg moves on, the winner of Nico Lacastro and Gavin Rathbun.
Great to see Gavin back out here.
Shoulder injury kind of keeping him back. And he is back on the disc golf course, and that is the next match we are going to be commentating on, Nate. And
Get your popcorn ready.
it's going to be a great match, folks.